Dio, the son of a fisherman, and Sade, the daughter of a rich tycoon, attended the same Lago school but lived in different worlds. Dio's family had little, and Sade's family had everything they could ever need. They crossed paths often in school, but their worlds remained separate, until the day Sade's father lost everything in a disastrous business venture. Sade's family went bankrupt, and suddenly the life she had known came crashing down. Her once grand home was sold, and her father's lavish business empire was reduced to dust. Sade's mother struggled to adjust, and the burden of the family's financial troubles fell squarely on Sade's shoulders. She had no idea where to turn or how to rebuild her life without the wealth that had once defined her. Meanwhile, Dio saw the changes in Sade and felt a deep sense of empathy. They began to talk more often, and Dio started offering his support in small ways, whether it was helping her carry heavy books or simply offering a listening ear when Sade felt overwhelmed by the sudden change in her life. Over time, their bond deepened, and Sade began to see Dio in a new light. His kindness, humility, and strong sense of self, despite his humble beginnings, made him someone Sade could lean on. As Sade's family adjusted to their new reality, she realized something profound. The wealth she had once taken for granted had not made her happy, and its absence did not define her. She began to understand that true happiness was not tied to material things, but to the people she loved and the values she held dear. She started volunteering at a local community center, working with children from disadvantaged backgrounds, and that's where Saad began to find her new purpose. Dio watched as Saad threw herself into the work at the community center, helping others who were in similar circumstances to what she had once faced. He admired her strength and her resilience, and he knew that Saad had discovered something far more valuable than any wealth she had once possessed. One evening, Saad confided in Dio about her fears for the future. "I feel like I've lost so much," she admitted, "but I don't know who I am without all that money. I don't know what to do next." Dio placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You don't need to be defined by what you have. You are more than that, Sade. You've always been more." Those words stuck with her. She began to explore new opportunities, enrolling in classes to learn more about social work and community development. As she grew in her newfound purpose, Sade realized that her past didn't have to hold her back. It could fuel her drive to make a difference in the world. One day, after a particularly moving experience with a young girl at the center, Sade felt a shift in her heart. She realized she had the power to help others, to teach them not to fear change but to embrace it. She had learned from her own struggles, and now she could pass that knowledge on. This revelation brought her peace, and for the first time in a long time she felt truly at home in herself. Dio, too, had his own challenges to overcome. He was working hard to pursue his dream of becoming an architect, but it was difficult. Many nights he would stay up late sketching designs and researching, trying to make a name for himself. Sade was there for him, offering encouragement and believing in him even when he doubted himself. Their relationship became one of mutual support, each lifting the other up in times of struggle. As their relationship deepened, Sada and Dio began to realize how much they meant to each other. What started as a friendship had blossomed into something far more profound. They supported one another in every way, through career setbacks, personal growth, and the challenges that life threw at them. One evening, Dio took Sade to the place where they first met, the local beach, a place they had always found solace. Standing there, the breeze gently sweeping through their hair, Dio looked at her with love in his eyes. "I never imagined this," he said softly. "We've both come so far from where we started. You've helped me become a better man, and I hope I've done the same for you." Sade smiled, her heart full. "You have," she said. "You've shown me that love isn't about what we have. It's about what we give, and you've given me more than I ever expected." Their love grew stronger, and as Saad continued to build the community center, Dio moved forward with his architectural career, eventually designing affordable homes for families in need. Together, they found ways to use their talents and resources to make a difference in the world. Their story became a testament to the idea that success wasn't measured by wealth, but by the positive impact they could have on others. However, despite their growing love and the positive changes they were making, Sade and Dio found themselves struggling with the complexities of balancing their work with their relationship. Sade is still deeply invested in her community center, often worked late into the night while Dio threw himself into his architecture projects. The strain began to show, and they found themselves growing apart in small, unnoticed ways. One evening, after a particularly long day, Sade sat across from Dio at their kitchen table, feeling the distance between them. "I miss you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I feel like we're living parallel lives instead of sharing them." Dio, too, had noticed the distance and felt the weight of it. "I miss us, too," he admitted. "I don't want to lose what we have, but I don't know how to find the balance." Sade reached out and took his hand. "We'll figure it out, together." They spent the next few months learning how to prioritize each other again, making time for date nights, deep conversations, and shared dreams. It wasn't always easy, but they learned that a healthy relationship required effort, and they were both willing to put in the work. With their renewed connection, Sade and Dio discovered that their love, like the work they were doing in the community, needed patience, care, and dedication. The growth they had experienced as individuals was mirrored in their relationship. They were no longer the people they had been when they first met. They had evolved into something even more powerful, partners, not just in love, but in life. As the years passed, Sade and Dio's marriage grew stronger. They had found the balance they had once thought impossible, and their love for each other deepened. They welcomed a child into their lives, and though the challenges of parenthood were great, they faced them together with the same strength and love that had carried them through everything else. Their home was filled with laughter, love, and the promise of a future full of possibilities. The community center continued to thrive, expanding its reach to even more people in need. And Sade, now a mother, a wife, and a leader in her community, found herself filled with a sense of purpose that transcended the wealth she had once known. Dio, too, found success in his career, not in the way he had initially imagined, but in a way that truly mattered to him, helping families build homes and communities. He and Sade, side by side, had created something much bigger than themselves. Years later, as Sade looked back on the journey she had taken, she realized that the wealth she had lost had been replaced with something far more valuable: love, resilience, and a deep sense of purpose. She had found herself not in what she had, but in who she had become, and it was enough. And so Sade and Dio's legacy continued, built on love, on giving, and on the belief that with each challenge came an opportunity for growth. Together, they had created a future far richer than anything money could have bought, and that was a life they could truly be proud of. As time passed, Sade and Dio watched as their child grew, inheriting not only their love but also their commitment to helping others. Their home became a sanctuary, a place where the community could come together, whether for support, celebration, or education. Sade and Dio never lost sight of the importance of staying connected to their roots. Despite their success, they always made sure to spend time in the neighborhoods where they had once felt the most vulnerable, working alongside the people who had inspired them to change. Their story became a beacon of hope for many. People in the community would often approach them with gratitude, telling them how their lives had been touched by the work they had done. It wasn't just about the infrastructure or the services they provided. It was about the love and empathy they had woven into every project, every interaction. Sade and Dio had shown that no matter where you came from or what you lost, the greatest treasures were the connections you made and the people you helped. Their community center became a hub not only for educational programs but also for personal development and emotional healing. They launched initiatives to support mental health, recognizing the profound impact it had on individuals and families. Sade especially poured herself into these efforts. She had come to understand that the emotional scars people carried often ran deeper than their material struggles. She offered counseling, group therapy, and workshops that encouraged people to share their stories, to heal from their pasts, and to embrace their futures with hope. Through all of this, Dio remained by her side, supporting her initiatives while also continuing to shape his career in architecture. The two balanced each other perfectly, Sade with her passion for helping others, and Dio with his creativity and vision for building a better world. They were partners not just in life, but in making a real difference. As they looked back on their journey from the days of uncertainty and struggle to the moments of triumph, they knew that they had created something timeless, a legacy that would live on in the lives of those they had touched. And as they stood side by side, watching their child play with friends in the yard, they realized that the future they had built was one filled with possibility, kindness, and a deep understanding of the true meaning of wealth. It was no longer about the things they had once thought were important, but about the love, the community, and the future they had created together. As the years went by, Sade and Dio's community center grew into something even more impactful. It wasn't just a place for people to come and receive help, it had become a symbol of transformation. People came from neighboring cities to learn from what Sade and Dio had built. Their story, one of resilience, love, and perseverance, was shared far and wide, inspiring others to turn their own adversities into strengths. Sade and Dio were frequently invited to speak at conferences where they shared their journey and the lessons they had learned. They became known not only for their philanthropic work, but also for their dedication to fostering sustainable long-term change. Their passion for helping others was infectious, and they inspired a new generation of social entrepreneurs, architects, and community leaders. Despite all the attention and success, Sade and Dio remained humble. They still lived in the same house they had built together, surrounded by the memories of their early struggles and victories. They never forgot the people who had helped them along the way, and they made it a priority to ensure their community continued to thrive. As their child grew older, they made sure to instill the same values in them: compassion, humility, and the importance of community. They knew that the world they had worked so hard to create would eventually be passed down to the next generation, and they wanted their child to be a part of that legacy. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, Sade and Dio sat on their porch, looking out at the community they had helped to build. They had been through so much together, but they knew the journey was far from over. They had built a future full of promise, one that would continue to evolve and grow long after they were gone. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Sade said softly, her hand resting in Dio's. Dio smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "Yes, but the best part is knowing that it's not just about us anymore. It's about everyone we've helped and everyone who will come after us." Sade nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "It's amazing to think that this all started with a simple decision to help. Just one step, one person, and look at everything it has turned into." Dio leaned back, his eyes sparkling with pride. "It's a reminder that no matter how small or insignificant we might feel at times, our actions can create ripples that can change the world." And with that, they sat in peaceful silence, watching their community continue to flourish, knowing that their legacy of love, resilience, and service would continue to live on for generations to come. The future was bright, not because of their success, but because of the lives they had touched and the love that had carried them through every challenge. As time passed, Sade and Dio continued to witness the fruits of their labor, and their legacy blossomed in unexpected ways. The community center had become a beacon of hope, not just in Lagos but in neighboring regions. Sade's work with mental health initiatives began to gain wider recognition, and she was invited to collaborate with national organizations dedicated to supporting vulnerable populations. Her passion for nurturing emotional well-being became a driving force for societal change. Dio, too, began to achieve even greater milestones in his career. His designs for affordable housing were becoming models for other cities to emulate. His work, which once seemed like a distant dream, was now shaping skylines and transforming communities for the better. However, he never lost sight of the true purpose behind his architecture: creating spaces where families could thrive, not just survive. He and Saad made it a priority to fund and oversee projects that provided homes and safe spaces for the most marginalized. Provided homes and safe spaces for the most marginalized. The couple's efforts began to attract the attention of global organizations, and soon Said and Dio were invited to international conferences where they shared their story of community building and social entrepreneurship. Their message resonated with people from all walks of life. They were no longer just seen as philanthropists or business professionals, but as pioneers in a new era of social change. Despite all the accolades and recognition, Sadeh and Dio remained grounded. Their home, still modest but filled with warmth and love, became a sanctuary for friends, family, and colleagues. They cherished the moments spent together as a family, making sure to maintain a sense of normalcy in their otherwise busy lives. They were determined that their child would grow up knowing the value of hard work, humility, and most importantly, the importance of helping others. As Sadeh and Dio continued to shape their legacy, they also embraced new challenges. They realized that the world around them was ever-changing, and they had to stay adaptable in order to continue making a lasting impact. Their community center was constantly evolving to meet the needs of the people it served, offering new programs and partnerships that addressed emerging issues in education, health, and the environment. One day while walking through the community center, Sadeh turned to Dio with a thoughtful look on her face. "You know, when we first started this, I couldn't have imagined how much it would grow, how many lives it would touch. Sometimes I wonder what's next for us." Dio smiled, taking her hand in his. "We've already done so much, but I think the next chapter is just as important. It's about sustainability, ensuring that what we've built will live on for generations, and that the next wave of leaders can carry the torch forward." Said nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "I think we're on the right path, but it's not just about leaving something behind.